Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Well, the global warming narrative equals game over, ladies and gentlemen. We've got that and so much more. I tell you, XRP price glitch or liquidity drying up. Chris Giancarlo from the Digital Dollar Project. BlackRock's excited about XRP. Ripple in 48 different countries. A $2.1 quadrillion market could send crypto into the stratosphere. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.63 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 4.7% in the last 24. We see 41,900 plus for Bitcoin, off by 4.6 in the 24-hour. $2,223 and change for Ethereum. It's off by 5.5% on the 24-hour. XRP right now, 61 cents, off by 6.6 in the 24-hour. Tether market cap, 90.7 billion plus. I believe that to be an all-time high for an asset that we don't know how the government really feels about it. And we got more on that in just a second. You're going to want to see it. Range of price for XRP right now between 61 cents on the bottom and almost 67 cents on the top, 0.6693 on the top range. Sitting towards the lower range now, we will keep an eye on it. Let's look at this very quickly right here. Now 542,000 registered users and growing. When are you going to be the next one? How much longer are you going to wait? All you have to do is click the link underneath this video to my sponsor, link2.com, sign up and register and get started today. It's that simple, and the most affordable minimums in the entire private equity space. Don't believe it. It's still true. Incredible companies, Uphold, Ripple, PolySign, Link2 themselves, Axia. There's so many in there, you won't believe it. I can't list them all because we don't have enough time, but that's why you got to click the link, sign up, register, get started today. Don't mess around. The stuff doesn't last long. Get some before it's gone. Well, price glitch, XRP. You know, I never seem to see this for other coins in this space, but I always see XRP price glitches for XRP. This one here, caught by, I think it's Amale, who says 90 cents on Bittrex. Now, the question here for me is it 90 cents because of a price glitch, or is it 90 cents because Bittrex is having a liquidity issue for XRP specifically related to their exchange? We don't know the answer. This here, Chris Giancarlo, the head of the Digital Dollar Project, responds back to Warren Davidson from the House of Representatives here. He says, first Warren Davidson said, Chris, that's rich. Corrupting money into a tool for coercion and control is evil. A U.S.-backed central bank digital currency would have all of the surveillance power of China's CBDC. We just like our own government better so far. CBDC is the one ring to rule them all and should be cast into the fire. Now listen, I'm not a fan of CBDCs either, but Chris Giancarlo has a better outlook and understanding of this than anybody I have ever come across. There's no question about it. Now, he does talk in here, and I have covered it extensively on this channel, so I'm going to paraphrase this portion for everyone. Chris has talked to great length and with great clarity about how there needs to be a constitutional standard to any digital money that is created, which means your privacy rights as a citizen using it will be respected just as the paper money that's folded up in your pocket right now. Now, that's that conversation. Now, I want to bring you to a section in here, and all of this is fantastic, and you can listen. I think it's like from 1040 to 1940 in here, I believe. But I want to take you to a couple specific points. One starts right about here. Let me get this. Yes, right about this area, right in here. Sorry, it's not perfect. But I want you to listen when he's asked about Bitcoin the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Listen to this quick exchange in here. And then it goes right into, and I'm going to let it run straight into, putting his regulatory hat on. And then Chris Giancarlo makes the analogy that we've made often on this channel about the railroad industry and what it did for the development of this country, and tying in the different regions and the different regional economies of this country. Take a listen to this clip first about the spot Bitcoin ETFs.
John and Mike, ask him about ETFs. What's happening? Can you jump into that? Where are we with a Bitcoin ETF or whatever?
So, when I was at the CFTC, we green-lighted the first regulated market for any type of crypto, and that was Bitcoin futures in the U.S. And that was 5 years ago, and that market today is liquid, it's transparent, it's operating very, very well, and it's fully regulated. It was on that Bitcoin futures market that the SEC green-lighted an ETF. Today, we do have an ETF, but it's based upon the Bitcoin future, not based upon the spot market. What we're talking about here is green-lighting an ETF on the spot market. Thus far, the SEC has been unwilling to do it because the spot market is actually outside the CFTC's jurisdiction. Long story, which I won't go into now, but it's outside. Congress is toying, and there's some bills that would give the CFTC oversight of that, which would make the SEC's job much easier. Now, having said that, there's a lot of reason to believe that the SEC may be getting ready for an ETF on the spot Bitcoin and Ethereum markets right now. And if we look around the globe, Canada's already done it. Germany's done it. There are other functioning markets that are healthy, that are well regulated. And so I think there's very good arguments that the SEC should, and I think there's anecdotal evidence that they will greenlight that product sometime in the beginning of the year.
Keep listening.
Chris, I'd love it if you could put your old regulator's hat back on from your days at the CFTC, because we've had such an aggressive crackdown in the last year or two. We've all seen Sam Bankman-Fried go to jail. CZ, the co-founder of Binance, just pled guilty. On and on and on. The list goes on. Have we seen all the regulatory actions, all the enforcement actions, all the criminal actions that need to be done to clean up this space, or do you think there's more work to do?
Well, certainly we've seen the big ones. I think FTX and Binance, long rumored, are the big ones in that category. I'm not aware of any other big ones. But let me put in context, if I could, both the regulatory actions and the criminality. And I want to, if I could, just go back 150 years to another period in American history when a major new technology came along that transformed the United States, and that was the railroad. Mm-hmm. The railroad allowed us to tie together a series of regional economies into one national economy. And so it was fundamental to our nation's progress for the next 150 years. But remember, it was accompanied by a myriad of scandals and frauds in the sale of railroad stocks.
Right.
Famous names like the Trasks and others were involved in all kinds of fraudulent behavior, selling stocks in railroads that didn't exist. We're now facing another new technology that in a similar way has the ability to tie together a whole disparate set of economic activity, and I believe will, in the 21st century, transform finance and banking and money itself. But it's not that surprising that it's accompanied by a series of high-flying scandals, which we'll look back to someday the way we look back to the Vanderbilts and the Trasks and others as being speculators in a new technology. But the technology itself has a tremendous amount of value.
I just don't think you could say it any better, and I think it's fitting that he uses the railroad analogy that we've used here tons of times to explain that I believe that we're one percenters. Right? That we understand that we are actually involved in front-running Wall Street into these projects, into these tokens, into these value protocols. I really do believe that. And to some extent, Chris Giancarlo does too. We may differ on what they are, but it's exciting and refreshing to understand his point of view on what the power of these protocols really have. Now, this is why it's so important to understand that we get stablecoin legislation. And let us remember, while this gentleman is talking here, that XRP is the only digital asset with legal clarity. Might want to remember that one while this is happening. He talks about Tether here, and it may be the next big thing that gets dealt with. And it doesn't mean it'll go away, but it may get some kind of punishment that forces it underneath a prudential regulation. Take a listen to what this gentleman says here.
Elaborate a bit on each of these 5 points very, very carefully. Okay, now the first one. So a lot of people would ask me, what do you mean by institutional grade? And what is institutional grade? So, given my background as a securitization and derivatives lawyer and a banker, right, from my perspective, if you want the institutions like BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, I was previously also from Morgan Stanley, to come in and play in this space, you're going to have to give them a token that has proper legal rights, interests, and ownership, right? You can't have a token where you cannot pinpoint to any specific documentation that says that you have those rights. If you can't, then it's going to be very difficult for anyone to be able to come in and play this game. Now, having said that, USDT has done such a great job marketing themselves, and I've got to admit, I've held USDT before, but because of that, and I'm using them as a negative example, and I'll explain why. But because it is so widely used, what I do is we would allow people to make payment to us in USDT, but we would definitely off-ramp it as soon as possible. The reason for that is because, and I'm not sure how many of us here in this room has ever held USDT, and I hope you're not still holding USDT, but you should ask yourself a very simple question. USDT claims, Tether claims that they are backed by a portfolio of treasuries and cash deposits and bonds and so on and so forth.
Listen.
But the question is this: can anyone identify the document that says that if I bring a USDT to court, the judge is going to be able to enforce my claim against that portfolio of assets, right? As of today, I have not actually come across any such documentation. So from my perspective, that's the problem with a lot of so-called real-world asset tokenization today.
And there you have it. He just told you what the problem is, right? This is why I tell you it is so important that we get stablecoin legislation. Now, that might not unwind Tether. Maybe it does. But it may just bring them underneath the prudential regulation. Maybe they pay some kind of fine. But I don't know how you KYC everybody in USD Tether, because that seems to be where we're going. And if it is, I don't know how you're going to go back and do all of that. I just don't know how you do it. But maybe they do. But I tell you, nobody has a paper that they can go to court with that says that USD Tether is to be honored and backed just like the US dollar, right? And that's a problem. And that means you're at risk, and that means the big money like BlackRock is going to be on the edge of all of this until that is rectified. Now, with that being said, it doesn't mean BlackRock doesn't get what's coming, because they do. This is Arfan Ahmed here from BlackRock, Vice President at BlackRock. Shout out to Chad Steingraber for this reminder here. Remember this, when he said this a while back? What this space needs is a decoupling from the meme coins and those with long-term utility use cases that will disrupt many industries. In order for this space to grow and mature, he says, Quant, AVAX, E2.0, XDC, XRP, many promising projects waiting to take the crypto market by storm. And now XRP has the clarity to do exactly that. We're just waiting for the banks to get the green light too. We know that from Brad Garlinghouse. Meanwhile, payment institution, MasterCard, MENA FinTech Association, Ripple, part of it, connected to 48 countries globally. How about that one? Yeah, it's right here. Nice reminder of where we're going, the contrast between the market of yesterday and the market soon to be of today. Think about it. If we get early 2024 stablecoin legislation, this market starts to clear up very quickly. I just told you at the opening of this video that 90 billion plus market cap of USD Tether is unidentified. Huh? That's how I'm going to start calling that. We got $90 plus billion market cap of USD Tether, and none of it is identified. Of course, unless the DOJ is running some kind of investigation that we all don't know about. But then there's this made the news today. The DTCC says today marked a significant milestone as we have successfully closed transactions to acquire Securrency, which we broke the news on here on this channel, as exciting as it was, now known as DTC Digital Assets, ladies and gentlemen. If you remember, Securrency was acquired by DTCC, and as it says here, rightfully so from Cowboy.Crypto, give him a follow. Securrency delivers financial technology products for the tokenized issuance and trading of securities. The company's protocols can be utilized on the Ethereum, Stellar, Ripple, EOS, and other distributed ledgers, as well as on legacy systems, allowing for seamless on-chain and off-chain movement of tokens. That is extremely exciting. And is extremely exciting because we know that now that it's known as DTC Digital Assets, DTC will completely tokenize the entire clearing market. Which, by the way, is a $1.2 quadrillion derivatives market. That's ISDA, International Swaps Derivatives Association, that Ripple just recently joined last summer. Accident? I don't think so. And then when I really think about it, that's when it brings back the question. What is Ripple and XRP really here to do? Ripple is here as a company, as a blockchain infrastructure company, helping to onboard all these different institutions onto the new value protocol systems and interoperability between all of them to get into the new world that we're moving to, the fourth industrial revolution, right? XRP and the XRP ledger is to facilitate all of this in one part of the tech stack, where applicable and where needed. Why is it so hard for everyone to believe as we are watching the geopolitical events unwind the petrodollar agreement between the oil-producing countries along with Saudi Arabia to exclusively trade dollars for oil in return for U.S. military protection? We are watching that be unwound right now. It is what gives the U.S. dollar its elevated status as the world reserve currency. And as it's being unwound, is it so hard to believe that Ripple joining ISDA to help settle $1.2 quadrillion, some say even over $2 quadrillion in derivatives, could provide enough of an underpinning to use it instead of the petrodollar agreement to underpin the digital U.S. dollar to provide its elevated status as a world reserve currency to continue, along with the right privacy rights and controls in respect to the Constitution, you would have the greatest, most desirable and powerful and strong U.S. dollar that this world has ever seen for the next 150 to 300 years. Just a thought. Make sure you join us in the Freedom Zone. This is where we're going today. I'm telling you, the global warming narrative smashed, ladies and gentlemen. Game over. You're going to see it in here. We're tackling it all. It's the stuff we couldn't talk about on social media or YouTube. You know we can. If we did for even a second, you know what would happen to us all. Well, there you have it. Make sure you join us in the World Evil Forum. We got them. There's a whole new narrative. You're not going to like it, but it's in here in the Freedom Zone. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.